Okay, does the flashing of the transmitter take it off air?
The flashing.
In other words, updating the software.
Unfortunately, we cannot do upgrades in application with the system running. So
how long would it be off?
Typical time frames are you're looking at 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so you do that in the middle of the night then?
You would pick an ideal.
Okay, and part of that's because when we flash, we're also upgrading software in other parts of the transmitter. It's not just the AUI.
That's right.
Because working on the AUI does not take you off.
No, it's not that process as much as it's the controllers on those various sub-assemblies that need the other systems to be available in order to get telemetry and various other parameters.
How many different types of fans are there in the transmitter?
There's one type that's used in high volume. That would be for the reject load assemblies and for the modules. That is primarily our single most popular fan. There is one small fan on the single board computer, and of course there are fans within the Tektronix power supplies.
Sure.
So again, all of those are available for sparing.
Okay.
And they are very easily serviceable.
And one of those fans failing doesn't take the transmitter off?
No, not at all.
Okay. In an HD-only configuration, in other words, space combining, how is the exciter configured? Do you continue to use your existing analog exciter for the old analog transmitter, or repeated word here. So, space combined. Okay, that's separate antennas. Well, it depends. If the NV is being used as the analog transmitter,
that's a loaded question.
If the NV is using as an analog transmitter, we'd set it up analog only. You'd have a separate transmitter for digital, and that would be set up as digital only.
Correct.
So, or you could continue to use your existing analog transmitter and just use the NV as the digital only transmitter. Okay. Larry is asking, please talk about phase and amplitude compensation. For transmitters that must connect to an 800 kilohertz space bandpass filter, can the output be compensated to be flat to the antenna?
Actually, there is pre-equalization that is available. If the combiner response were provided to us, we could load in a correction curve that would account for specific group delay issues. So yes, that is.
And the fans can be replaced in the power supplies, I understand. Mike?
They can.
Mike is logged in.
Can,
yeah, okay. And let's see here. What methods have you used to maximize the overall efficiency in HD and analog modes?
Well, we've obviously the peak capability of the transmitter helps in that regard. They are conservatively rated, so there is a lot of headroom. So efficiency performance has been improved.
One of the things that I've heard about is that there's some active monitoring of each of the modules, and we're reducing the amount of power going into the reject loads, which is wasted power, by optimizing the power in each module.
That's right. We constantly monitor the reject power and account for that imbalance with amplifier performance.
Okay. Another question from Mark. How is the lightning protection done?
Well, there's various elements to lightning protection. From an AC standpoint, we have transient protection that's available as an option. We provide ferrite in our ancillary kits, which can be used on the output depending on the size of your feed. We have ferrite that's also available for the AC lines going into the transmitter. And of course, there's an easily accessible station reference ground point that can be brought to via copper strap or low impedance path to your station reference ground.
And the output of the transmitter is actually at a DC ground. There's a DC ground internally.
The station reference ground is connected internally via isolated wires directly to the spout of the transmitter.
From New Zealand comes the question from our friend Jeff. How much redundancy is there in a 3.5 kilowatt transmitter?
Actually, the same level of redundancy that's in any of the NV transmitters. We still provide as standard dual IPA supplies, SAN supplies, logic supplies, and of course you still have 4 power supplies in that case, 2 modules.
But the 2 modules is a little bit it could be misunderstood. It's 2 modules, but it's actually 16 power amplifiers.
That's right.
So what might typically fail is one of those power amplifiers. So there's a lot of redundancy there.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Is there if there's a problem with a flash, can you go back to an earlier version of the software?
You can actually. Whatever TGZ file is loaded in the bin on that flash can be reverted back to.
Could I run my transmitter with a different brand of exciter if I so choose?
From an analog standpoint, there is no reason why that's not possible. From a digital standpoint, that would not be possible. As long as your exciter was capable of 150 watts, which is no short feat for most other exciters, then yes, of course. We provide the connections for muting, similar to our old conventional systems.
There might be a question in terms of physically mounting it in the transmitter, because we have kind of an unorthodox mounting schedule.
We do, and considering the fact that the exciter is integrated, it is somewhat special to the size that was available. So there's no reason why you couldn't use an external exciter, but it would have to be exactly that.
We're going to really test you here. William has asked, what is the average lifespan of those fans? 80,000 hours, I understand, is the life of those fans.
Thank you, Mike. Yes.
And what kind of bearings do those have in them, do you know?
They're brushless.
Okay, all right. Let's see here, continuing to go through. Yeah, is there a lightning shunt in the RF transmitter filter? We just answered that, and there is. Will the NV series replace all other transmitter models? Maybe I should answer that.
Yeah, I think that is a sales question.
The NV is replacing everything from 3.5 kilowatts and up at this point in time. Watch this space for the rest of it. And one other thing that did come up in the previous discussion we had, somebody asked if there's plans to go beyond 44 kilowatts. And in fact, we've got an order in-house, don't we?
We actually have two, well, one for sure and another one that's a hopeful for a 40 times 2.
So the NV80.
Yes.
That's wonderful. All right, let's see. So that's all the questions that we've got. We want to thank all of you for participating, for joining us. We hope you'll come back. We hope you'll write us and tell us what we could do in these webinars to provide more information. Write us at sales@nautel.com. You should be able to find a downloaded version of this webinar on our website within 24 hours or so. But for now, that's what we've got for you. We want to thank you. For Scott Marchand, I'm Chuck Kelly, signing off from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Good day.